The text hit me like a slap across the face, glowing coldly on my phone screen. I'm done with you. I've met someone, her name's Lila. She's everything you're not. We're heading to the Maldives. Good luck with your miserable mom. Each word stabbed deeper, sharper than the last. I sat there in my mother's hospital room, the steady beep of machines humming alongside the sterile buzz of fluorescent lights. Mom's breathing was calm for once, her fragile frame finally resting after another brutal day. And Daniel? My so-called husband didn't even have the guts to call. Just a text, cruel and casual, like our 3 years of marriage were trash he could toss out without a second thought. I'm Sarah, 33. And until that moment I thought I had my life mostly figured out. My dad died when I was in my 20s, leaving me to care for Mom ever since her health took a nosedive. Daniel never hid his resentment about it. She's not your burden, he'd snap, eyes rolling whenever I canceled plans or skipped a date night to be at her side. Focus on us, not her. Looking back, I shouldn't have been shocked he'd pull something this low. Daniel was always selfish. I just convinced myself I could fix him, mold him into someone worth loving. What a fool I was. I reread the message, then shoved my phone into my pocket. No point obsessing over it now, Mom needed me. Hours later, when I finally dragged myself home from the hospital, the sting of Daniel's betrayal sank its claws in deep. I pushed open the door to the house we'd shared, a place that suddenly felt like a stranger's, dropping my bag on the couch with a heavy sigh. Something glinted in the corner of my eye, the diamond necklace Dad gave me, sitting on my dresser right where I'd left it. Or so I thought. I picked it up, rolling it between my fingers. It looked legit at first, but something was wrong. It felt too light. I traced the clasp. Faint scratches I'd never seen before stared back at me. A chill crawled up my spine, but I brushed it off. Maybe I was just exhausted. Then, an hour later, my phone buzzed with an alert that stopped me cold. Security alert. Item has been moved from its designated location. My heart slammed against my ribs. The tracking chip Dad had insisted on embedding in the necklace, a paranoid precaution I'd once laughed at, had just woken up. The signal had a delay, meaning Daniel must have swiped it hours ago. This thing in my hands? A fake. He didn't just leave me, he robbed me. My grip tightened around the counterfeit as fury replaced shock. That necklace wasn't just jewelry, it was Dad's last gift. A piece of him I could still hold after losing him ripped my world apart. Daniel knew that, and he still took it. I opened the tracking app. A blinking dot pinned the real necklace to a pawn shop 3 miles away. My jaw clenched. How dare he? This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment tantrum. His curt text, the swap, the getaway, it was a calculated plan. But why? I called the pawn shop, forcing my voice to stay steady. Hi, I'm checking on a diamond necklace that might have come in today. It's got a security chip. I just got an alert. A gruff voice answered after a beat. Yeah, some guy brought one in this morning. Tall, dark hair, kinda twitchy. We reported it when the chip flagged it as stolen. Cops have it now, you'll want to talk to them. I hung up, staring at the wall as the truth settled in. Daniel hadn't just betrayed me. He'd turned criminal. My grief morphed into resolve. He wasn't getting away with this. The next morning I handed law enforcement everything. The tracking data, the pawn shop's report, Daniel's perfectly timed exit. The FBI jumped in. An investigator named Detective Harper assured me this wasn't their first rodeo. We'll handle it, she said. Her tone ironclad. A high-value item like that doesn't just vanish. Relief flickered, but it couldn't touch the ache. This wasn't just about value. It was priceless. I dug deeper, piecing together Daniel's scheme. His social media, a cesspool I'd monitored to track his chaos, gave me the final kick. A photo posted hours earlier, him sprawled on a Maldives beach, sunglasses on, cocktail in hand, grinning next to her. Lila, all carefree glow and clueless smugness, beamed beside him. Caption: finally living the dream. Maldives life. Fresh start. My stomach twisted, not with heartbreak but with rage. He thought he'd won. He thought I'd crumble. He had no idea who he'd messed with. I spent the day gathering ammo, bank records, texts, pawn shop receipts Harper forwarded. Each scrap painted a portrait of a desperate man torching his life for a fantasy. That night, Harper called with an update. We traced the pawn shop cash. He funneled it to an offshore account before jetting off. We're working with Maldives authorities to freeze it and grab the necklace. A smirk tugged at my lips. Daniel's paradise was about to crack. The next morning I marched into Harper's office, a folder bursting with evidence in hand. My hands shook, but my voice didn't waver. This is everything: withdrawals, messages, receipts. He's been siphoning our joint account for months. Harper's eyes gleamed as she flipped through it. You've done half our job. This is gold. She tapped the tracking data. The signal cut out at Maldives Customs. We flagged it there, but it's a slow grind with international red tape. I nodded, feeling less alone. For once, I had a team. Harper leaned forward. He's been at this for months. The offshore accounts, the quick sale, it's sloppy. He's cocky, and that's our edge. I left her office lighter, the haze lifting. Daniel wasn't just a jerk. He was a schemer who'd underestimated me. That night I called Mom. Her faint, warm voice grounded me. You're tougher than you know, Sarah, she murmured. I clung to that, knowing this fight was for her too. Days later, Harper's update lit a fire. The offshore account's frozen. He probably doesn't know yet. When he does, he'll slip up. Sure enough, Daniel's posts grew erratic, less polish, more panic. One showed Lila twirling in a designer dress from a boutique spree, him cooing, anything for my queen. But the cracks were widening. Then came the call I'd been waiting for. Maldives authorities issued an arrest warrant. We've got him pinned 48 hours tops. I grinned. His paradise was about to implode. 2 days later, Harper delivered. We nabbed him this morning at his resort. He's in custody. I sank onto the couch, relief crashing over me. What's next? I asked. Extradition's in motion, she said. He's facing local charges too. Lila bolted when the cuffs came out. Guess she didn't sign up for this. I laughed. Perfect. Later, social media erupted. A grainy shot of Daniel, cuffed and sour-faced, escorted by cops. Caption: drama at the resort, thief caught. Paradise ain't for everyone. Lila scrubbed him from her feed, vanishing like a ghost. Poetic. The day after I visited Mom, the weight finally lifting. He's done, I told her, squeezing her hand. She smiled weakly. You're my rock, Sarah. I started purging Daniel from the house. His junk hitting the trash felt like reclaiming my soul. Work called too. My old boss, Claire, welcomed me back with open arms. Whenever you're ready, she said. I dove in, setting boundaries this time. No more bending for anyone. Then came Lila's text. Sarah, it's Lila. I'm sorry I didn't know the truth. Call me Curiosity One. Her voice shook when I did. He said you wanted out, that you were cold. I bought it, until I saw the lies. The necklace. I left when he got arrested. I snorted. What do you want? Absolution. No. She whispered. Just to say he screwed me too. I hung up unmoved. Her regret didn't fix my scars. This was about me now. A week later, Harper called. The necklace is yours again, back by Friday. Trial set. He's toast. When I held it again, its weight felt like victory. That night, with it around my neck, I sat with Mom. Her eyes sparkled. It's home, I said. Then inspiration hit, a trip for us to a coastal town Dad loved. When you're stronger, we're going, I promised, showing her pictures. Her faint grin sealed it. Michael's storm had passed. The future? Mine to shape, one fierce step at a time.